Hello and welcome to Sacred Foundations. I'm Julia Frainer. I'm with my good friend, Jill Chesrow. Sometimes I forget to just jump right into that because she and I have just been chatting for like 20 minutes already. But we were so happy to be here with our April read. We're a couple of days behind the 1st of April, but as Jill always lovingly reminds us, when you meet this recording is exactly when you're supposed to meet this recording. And we've had the cards pulled for several days. So the frequency of this reading has been like vibrating in my kitchen and my dining room for several days. So it's been brewing. So I'm super excited to share. Jill, how are you?
I am wonderful. I love spring here in the Northern Hemisphere. So I'm an April baby. So I'm all about that initiation energy. And I feel like I really love that this reading started with the card that it did. And it just has a newness to it, a freshness to it. So I am excited. I do want to point out that Julie and I sometimes will chat about the cards and the reading and what came up for us. And oftentimes there's an overlap, and sometimes we'll each get our own little piece. We did not discuss the cards this time ahead of time. So I have a message that is really coming strong for me. So I'm excited to hear what Julia comes up with and what came up for her. It may be similar, it may be completely different. So we want to remind you that as we pull the image up of the cards, we want you to look at them. We want you to see what stands out for you. You may want to pause it before we dive into the reading and just, see the titles of the cards and the colors, the images, what stands out for you, and then listen with us as we go into what came up for us and what we're feeling wants to be revealed. But always trust your own inner wisdom and the messages that you got. So you may find yourself picking some pieces out of what I shared and then some pieces out of what Julia shared, and just kind of creating a story that feels like it's true for you and the messages that are being revealed to you specifically at this time. And then ideally, you would take some of the information and the insights that you received, and then you would put them into practice in some way as you develop and deepen your own sacred foundation. So we may share some insights that came up as far as grounded action steps to take. It'll just depend on what kind of comes up as we go forward. So awesome. Ready?
I'm ready. Go for it.
All right, let me pull up the image of the card.
And while she's pulling the images up, I just will add that if you want a deck of your own, there are some available. So reach out to one of us. We will get a deck to you. I do often like to just hold the card up to my heart. Yeah, so there you go. All right, Jill.
All right. Can you see the images properly?
Yes.
All right, so just a reminder, we're using two separate decks, but they work really nicely together. And we use a spread called the Cross of Truth. So it has 5 positions. Julia and I each pull a card for position number 2. That's why you see 6 cards. So the first card is the theme of the month, and that is the intention card. So I love this card. Most of the people listening to this are very familiar with, creating an intention, and it gives you a point of focus and what are you intending at this point in time. So as we, Julia, I don't know if you're going to mention like the moon phases and the astrology or whatever, but this is an amazing time to set an intention for the next month, 2 months, 3 months, for the season. However, that makes sense to you, but focusing in on an intention is huge. So whether you're new to working with intentions or you've been working with intentions for a while, or if you decided, I don't really, working with intentions isn't my bag. I know some people that like to go with the flow or whatever. I really want to seriously invite you to consider setting a specific intention for this time if you haven't done so already. So the second position is hopes and fears. And sometimes it could be about how you really feel about the theme card of setting an intention. So here we have Rebirth and Luminosity. So what those cards are saying to me is this is a beautiful time of rebirth. The rest of the cards are going to be a little bit about letting go of what no longer serves you. When I look at the rebirth card, I see what looks like a lot of chaos. So sometimes, you're going through something and it seems like it's a little chaotic. The intention that you set is going to help you focus and you're moving through it. When we look at the Luminosity card, there's a lot of fire energy in this card. Illuminate, fire transforms, transmutation. I know that when the artist created this card, it was when there was some very serious California wildfires happening, and the artist lost, I think, all of her possessions. Julia, does that ring true for you? She lost everything, I think.
She did absolutely everything.
Yeah, so there's a burning away of the old. So this would be a great time if in your rituals, if you do rituals and you work with fire, to really pull in the fire element to help transmute any energy, old limiting beliefs, letting go of what no longer serves you. This could be, in the physical world, it could be cleaning, decluttering, really letting go. It could be letting go of relationships that no longer serve you. Plus, there's that illumination of energy. So you may be seeing more clearly what is ready to be let go of. So then we move to the helpful energy card, which in this reading is StarLight Essence. I wanted to read you the full message of StarLight Essence and then also the last card, because I think it's amazing. So I want you to listen to these words and see what really kind of if you feel it in your body or you just get like this light bulb moment. It says, now is the moment to shine all the light that you are, to fully embody and merge your StarLight essence with your human form. You are part of the new guides, teachers, and healers assisting and leading humanity through this enormous shift in consciousness. Let the presence of the Christed divine love light illuminate you in every way. Receive and expand your golden heart center for upgrades, downloads, and alignments while ascending into higher frequencies and vibratory levels of awakening. It is time to share and reveal more of your magical gifts with the world. They may come forth as new ideas, writing, healing, artistic creations, children, relationships, and friendships. Open to all of your multidimensional presence. Connect with the sun. And I just want to point out that the final card has this big image of a sun in there. So see how that's significant to you. So again, connect with the sun, the great central sun, and the galactic center. Deeply listen to the stars, the galaxies, and the whales. Trust your inner guidance, intuition, and knowingness. Celebrate your StarLight essence in human form. Such a beautiful card in talking about all of this, your inner light and letting your light shine. And if we think back to the last several readings, radiance has been a huge part of the energy that's been unfolding for us. So then we move to the obstacle energy, which here is create. And again, you have this image here, and I don't know if the artist intended for this to be a sun or a moon, but I'm kind of getting a sun vibe just in this whole reading. So if we look at that card as an obstacle, where might you be stopping yourself from creating? And I want you to remember that creating isn't just about, art. The definition of creation and artistry and all of that is so much vaster than some people give it credit for. So we are always co-creating in partnership with spirit in our lives. So you may feel a sense of blockage or stagnant, stuck energy. And I feel like the message in this card is you know, when you really kind of tune in, get centered and focused, then what no longer serves you is going to be illuminated, and you can start clearing that out of your field and your life experience. So then that brings us to the patterns card. And this card, to me, I'm going to read the message again, straight from the artist, because I think the imagery itself is incredible. And when we talk about, you know, patterns, and we have old patterns and conditioning, but we can create a new pattern. We can choose what patterns we want to put together and create in our lives to move forward and really embody our true essence. So, but listen to this, is amazing. It says, look at the patterns you've created around you, or did someone else create them for you? Look deep inside. Find the soothing comfort of a warm quilt. Look into the truth of who you are, of what you need, of what you're to be creating. Find that truth. Find that beauty. Peel away those layers and dive into your truth. Soar like a bird while grounded like a tree. Move towards the light, towards that higher vibration to be who you truly are. This is an amazing time, everybody. So I feel like it is a window of opportunity to really let go of what no longer serves you and to embody more of your true essence and co-create the life that your soul came into this incarnation to express and experience. All right, I'm going to take a breath. Julia, I cannot wait to hear what you have to share.
Thank you, Jill. Yes, yes, and yes. Everything that Jill said, I would have said, and I'm shifting just a little bit. One, I want to say how looking at the cards, and today, that as Jill and I are recording this, it is Easter Sunday. There's a lot of discussion that can go into that, but this reading very much is in alignment with it being Easter Sunday. So, and Ostara and the spring season, the equinox. And so, all right, I'm just going to jump into it. Intention. Our attention is going to go somewhere. And typically, if you don't live in an intentional life, you are going to be led by where your attention is being drawn from the outside. Intentional living says, I set the intention, and even if my attention goes somewhere else, I have my attention to refocus me, to bring me back to the thing. And that does not mean not living in flow. It's really being free enough to be empowered to say, this is my intention, be it daily, monthly, weekly, annually, moment by moment. But coming into yourself and setting the intention of living and not being directed by the outside world. So intentional living is huge. If you struggle with that, please reach out to one of us or both of us, because it's so important right now. I want to bring up on the card, I always see this little tiny owl. I don't know if it was intended to be a little owl down there, but I always see that little being right there as an owl. Number two, I'm going to dive into, because everything Jill said was pretty much where I was going. And so where I've shifted to in this now moment, see, intentional living and still being in flow. There's a thing about that. And the second is the hopes and fears. And so I'm going to go into the idea of the phoenix rising, which I know that's a powerful message from Jill that we've talked about Phoenix Rising. And she shared a little bit about the artist on Luminosity who created that card, and she having been through this horrific California fire that took everything. Very painful, right? To lose everything. And when you think about the Phoenix Rising, we have to remember that the Phoenix has to go through the fire to complete destruction into the ash. It is from the ash that Phoenix rises. Right? That is where the rebirth comes. So the two cards together, Rebirth and Luminosity, they can summons both hopes and fears. It is both hope and fear. And what's on the other side of that fear is that hope. Right? So the luminosity, I love that it's at her heart center. That is the Anahata, the unstruck place. This is the place where love light has always been, always will be. You can never not be that unconditional love. And you, each one of us, has the ability to activate that love light, which ties in so beautifully to StarLight essence. That is you. That is each one of us. How do you illuminate that light within you? It comes from within and then explodes outward. It feels your presence. It feels your body. It feels all parts, every muscle and sinew through your veins and your arteries, and then it bursts out around you into your auric field. And there, that true unconditional love that you just radiate, your luminosity, blesses those around you, right? Because your auric field is part of who you are. It is you. And you are as much StarLight essence as you are earth essence. And so bringing the two together is incredibly beautiful. And then the create card. I love this card, and it too always gives me different information and insight. But I also want to mention the owl again. So there's the owl again, right? So I'm going to talk create, and then I'm going to talk owl for just a moment. We are all creative beings, every single one of us. And oftentimes, having had and working Soul Space Studio for as long as I have, so many times people come to me, I'm not creative. We just deny our creativity. And oftentimes when I remind people that you are not creating alone, you are co-creating with the essence of who you are. You are co-creating with the solar and lunar cycles. You are co-creating with creation herself. And in that co-creative state, and this is what I believe all the artists for both decks and what Jill and I and these artists from both decks still do, they are in co-creation with creation. And that creation with co-creation with creation actually becomes an esoteric language that moves through us. It gives voice in a way that language, speaking language and written language does not. Doesn't eliminate the two, because most of all these creations, and Rebirth is one of them, has the written language in it. And the word love popped in on the second card, right? It's right there. It's written right there. So I wanted to tie the owls together. In StarLight Essence, Jill beautifully read the beautiful message. And it brought in the Christed energy. Again, I'm just going to touch on today. And I'm not bringing in a religion. I'm just talking the story. You have the Christed energy matched with the image of the owls being wisdom, the Sophia energy. And how do we co-create with our inner wisdom and our inner knowing, our inner logos, the inner word? And it comes back to, again, what I just said, that co-creation that is spoken esoterically. It's opening up and expressing what mere words alone cannot say. And then we come to patterns, the outcome. And when Jill brought that, that's the first thing I saw when I pulled that up, and she brought up the sun, directing us to that beautiful sun. This is going to tie back into intention, that if you have not followed a lunation from new moon to new moon, which happens monthly, I invite you to do that, because the patterns of the phases of the moon is a wonderful opportunity to co-create with. And one of the things that I do, and I encourage those that I work with, is to create a new moon dream collage. And that co-creation is really from an intentional, inward, empowered place where we do some intuitive expression and then work with the energy of that throughout a lunation. And through each of the phases or the patterns of the moon through a lunation, there's a new opportunity to be in co-creation with that cycle. And bringing that into the solar cycle where we are in the seasons and the times creates even a more enriched patterning for ourselves. So I just love this reading. I think it's so appropriate for where we are right now. I just encourage each of you that are led to view this to really step into yourself and begin living from the inside out versus being directed from the outside in. You are fully equipped to create and co-create the most beautiful, impactful, luminous starlight essence of who you are. We can't wait to hear from you. Thanks, Jill.
Yeah, thank you, Julia. I love the way that you tie everything together and bring in the cycles of the sun and the moon. So just to recap, again, we want you to look at the card, see what comes up for you, take out any of the information that was illuminated for you, and then, what are some practical grounded steps that you can take? So, we want you obviously to see what comes up for you. Some possible suggestions might be to, let go of some physical stuff in your space, see if there's anything on the mental or emotional level that needs to be looked at and released. If I look at the helpful energy card, we see that light streaming into the woman. So, in meditation, visualization, just see your true essence streaming into your physical body, something like that. And then taking a peek at where you might feel blocked or stagnant with your creation energy, and give a little bit of thought to, what do you feel might be in the way? Even if you don't know, some people will know right off the bat and be like, oh yeah, I'm afraid, I self-doubt, self-worth, whatever. Or it might be like, I don't really know why I feel, that I'm not in this creation mode as much as I feel like I'm being called to be, and just be curious about it and just see what wants to be illuminated in that regard. Julia, anything else that you can see as a potential practical application?
Yes, to everything you said. And just get curious about the cycle of the moon, at least for 1 month. Just get curious about that. I think it's incredibly powerful and beautiful. Side note, we are in eclipse season. And so we will be having our lunar and solar eclipses coming up the next month.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank everybody that shared this time with us. And like Julia already mentioned, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to put them in the comment section. And we will see you next month.
Take really good care.
All right, everyone. Bye-bye. Or not. All right, I'm just going to end it, Jules. I love you. Happy holidays, and I'll talk to you later.
Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.